in a loss, Florida State still seems like a winner for the weekend. So I guess whichever way you want to take it, Bud, scenes from the stadium or your thoughts on the way the team looked in person.
Sure. Stadium first, obviously, on the night that they honored Bobby Bowden. I thought that was a pretty touching moment at halftime. I don't know how much they showed on the broadcast, but the band spelled out Bobby as they played Amazing Grace. They had Ann on the field pregame. That was a really cool moment. To the end of the game, I went to Florida State, and I've covered this thing for more than 10 years. I really don't recall a game where the crowd gave FSU a standing ovation after losing. Like, I think the crowd really had awareness that they were very outgunned, especially along some of the lines of scrimmage stuff. And I thought they coached their butts off and really played their butts off and didn't quit and played to win. They had over 100 recruits in the stands. The teams that they recruit against, think about it: Miami, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, all had road games or neutral site games where you're not going to host a lot of recruits. Auburn and Florida, who they also recruit against, they had pretty crappy opponents at home on very hot, games. Not going to have a ton of recruits in attendance for that. They really had the entire eyeballs of the Southeast recruits on them last night. And it would have been easy for them to play slower, to punt the ball, just to keep the game respectable, to say and have a message: hey, look, guys, we're only a player or two away from being pretty good. That player could be you. But I thought Norvell sent a message to his team. He's like, I believe in you guys. We're gonna play aggressively. We're gonna go for this. From the word go, though, they had to try to trick Notre Dame. They've had a lot of issues with the offensive line at camp. I actually think this offensive line will be better as the season goes on. They just haven't had many days where everybody's been there. Milton as well hasn't been there for quite a bit of camp, as you guys know. They were trying to trick them from the word go, and I thought they did a pretty good job of creating explosive run plays with some of the formation stuff they did. That was impressive. But the number one thing, and it's one game, so it's hard to take away a lot of stuff that'll matter going forward. But a 48% run stuff rate against Notre Dame and Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, I think that has legitimate significance. They have guys on the defensive line this year, and it was a little tough to tell because I knew they were kicking the crap out of FSU's offensive line in practice, but given who was missing from FSU's line in practice, I didn't really want to buy into that. I'm buying in now. They have a lot of guys on the defensive line who I think will probably play on Sundays, and that will matter in this league going forward.
I was gutted. I was gutted last night. I was I'm a Florida State graduate. I root for them, but I'm also an analyst. Like you guys know, I have no problem picking against them. I have no problem calling it out and seeing it like it is. But I really wanted this for Norvell, for the players, because they haven't had many, great. They had North Carolina last year, but it was in the middle of the season. It was the season was already a wash. No one was given a chance, and then it didn't really impact anything. But I wanted it for them to do it in front of the fans, right? And you guys know, I didn't see the game plan out like that at all. I just said it was going to be a low-scoring game, which I thought it was. All of a sudden, Jack Cohn comes out, and he looks like Mahomes. He's throwing it all over the place. Florida State's responding. They're getting big plays. All of a sudden, we see this shootout. But I was hurting for them last night. That's a tough way to lose. And then you get the Milton story unfolding, and it feels like this is the Hollywood ending everyone's going to get. And thank you, McKenzie Milton, for making ESPN like Florida State, right? That was for the first time in maybe 20 years. It felt like everyone liked Florida State and was rooting for Florida State. I even saw Gators saying, I hate Florida State, but you have to root for them now. And then it just comes up short like that. It was gutting. And I'm sure those guys are just torn today and weren't able to sleep last night. But just to echo on what Bud said, there was a couple things I wanted to point out from the game and I saw some reaction afterwards that was, I don't know. I just thought it was very much reactionary. So the fourth down call in the middle of the third quarter, I saw what Bud said. I totally agreed. And I love the mindset from Norvell. And I don't think people can appreciate what it means to the team that he says, this is what we're going to do. We're going for it. We're not going to play field position with Notre Dame. We're going for the win. We're going to let them hang. I believe in you guys. And even though they didn't get it, and I didn't love the play call either, but even though they didn't get it, it sends a message, I believe in you guys. And I think they responded as such. They go down 18, and the last 3 years, that would have been lights out, shut it down, everyone go home early. But they didn't. They kept battling. So that was the first thing I noticed. I loved it. The other thing was, and I saw some people, well, where was McKenzie Milton? Why didn't he start? What happened here? And it does clearly, McKenzie Milton looked way more comfortable from the pocket. And we had all been preached to this offseason. And, Mike Norvell had been saying, oh, Jordan Travis has really developed as a passer. He's way better now from the pocket. He's learned the system. He is not comfortable in the pocket. And then you saw the difference in a quarterback who's used to making reads, who will sit there, doesn't panic right away, but kind of has a great feel for when to run. But I think two things unfold. One, the injury. I think McKenzie Milton missed a lot of time, and that's hard to have a guy out and say, well, I'm going to start him, even though he's missed a ton of practice. And I saw the scrimmage when they both played full. Neither one looked great. They looked okay, but neither one was shining. Some guys are gamers. And I think that's what you saw from McKenzie Milton. Somebody who, when the lights come on, bam, they come on. And so now I think, and it was clearly the decision was made. The helmet pops off. That is a one-play thing. You can come right back in. But McKenzie Milton, all of a sudden, one play, down the field, third down conversion. Everyone's like, oh, let's let this keep going. And you saw the offense come to life because there was actually a legitimate threat. And this is not a knock against Jordan Travis, but I think by now there's a lot of tape on him. People are going to see limitations, and they're going to start playing the run, stop the run, go ahead, try to beat us outside. Maybe, he throws a pretty deep ball, but going through progression, staying in the pocket, reading things out is not his strength, and that becomes very limiting. So now I think it's McKenzie Milton's show. It has to be. And then you kind of hope that he's healthy. You hope that he stays healthy. And I do think it's a different game with him in there. And then just the bad luck of icing the kicker. I didn't want to say anything, but the longer it was unfolding, and then they did the
Flanagan's crews take so long. I don't think Jeff's a bad referee as far as the calls, but they take so long. And every play does not need a Chip. You're an ACC guy, If you get a Flanagan crew, it's let's have a conference after every play. I'm like, what are we doing here?
It's the conference of attorneys. All right. All they got to do is have their billable hours and make sure we triple check all the different aspects of this.